Oh yeah, we'll put this all on YouTube, baby. All right. So I was just discussing faux fur or regular fur, or even to like some extent like hair, any animal, and we're an animal. When it grows together and it has this wavy or curl pattern, it tends to coil together. So even if you have really straight hair like mine, this like stick straight, it actually does lock a little bit together. Like I have chunks of it that form. They just get tangled together really easy. But like if I look at my doggy Ajax's hair, it has beautiful texture and locks. Ugh, he makes me jealous. But they'll go together like this, and they tend to, as they grow, some of them will break, some of them will grow a little longer, and they tend to taper. So the first thing I'm going to understand is how much wave or crimp is in the lock, how wide the locks are. Does it tend to be a lot of fur clumping together? And how much does it taper? Sometimes you'll get more of a lock with this structure like I'm drawing. And sometimes you'll get more of a lock where it kind of grows together into a point like this and then fuzzes out on the end. Sometimes you'll get a lock that does like poof out a little bit more from the edges. You just want to kind of study what are the microforms that make up the texture. So that faux fur, it looks pretty, if I was to draw it, it has like some fuzz towards the bottom that kind of fuzzes out, and then it has some major structures that kind of intertwine and go back and forth like that. Would you say that's correct, Kona?
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost like these like clumps of grass sticking out.
Looks like grass.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate some of these same strokes, but to scale on the edges primarily of my fabric. I need to sharpen this up a little bit. You gotta stay sharp in this class. Okay. So on the edges, I will look, and it's also going to have a grain, so a direction that that hair is kind of laying in, less so in faux fur than in real fur. In a real fur or sheepskin or whatever you may have,
Like it had any grain.
there will be directions. This one's pretty random.
Yeah.
Okay. So faux fur, pretty random. I'll draw pretty random kind of over in this part and something with a grain. If you're dealing with a grain, making some little notes about which way that grain flows can be useful. Here, it's going to be pretty random. Okay, so I'm going to take kind of those same structures and just make similar shapes along the edge. And I'm also going to pay attention to the length, how long those end up sticking out. And in this, I'm trying to keep it truly quite random. I can always go in and add in a little bit more detail, but adjusting the edge of your shape first is what you want to do. And then you want to go anywhere where it's kind of changing directions. So like this is kind of going around to the back, and add in your fur texture there. And then we can continue it down here. And it can be like really rather loose, especially in a fashion drawing. But like fur is like very spontaneous. So you can, especially faux fur like this. And then you can just kind of spot in a few areas. But as long as your edge has it and you communicate it in a few other areas, then it'll read as fur. Yeah. You don't necessarily have to come in and do each little shading and whatever to get it. You can you could give it like that base shade like I did for the velvet here, and then do this on top to indicate some of those lines. And then, in fact, let's just do that really quickly. Why talk about it when we can do it, Sydney? Notice if you have one of these pencils, I used the side of it to just lay down that color really quick. I'm going to destroy so much of my line work here. I'm going to then flick out this color into some of these shapes to get that halo-y effect. I can always come in and clean up any of it later. Like, I don't like that. So I'm going to come in, clean it up. All right, now I can come back in and add in my shadows for my fur. And this is probably the best way to do this. I'm going to have such a happy sketchbook day by the end of this because I will have gotten to draw so many things. And I've got those kind of random lines, and now I'm going to come in, squeeze out my eraser until I have a nice little pointy friend here, and give it some highlights in amongst those lines too. Yeah. Now I've got like a really nicely drawn black and white fur. I could go into more and more detail based off of how thick it is. Yeah. So, you know, make those observations and try to figure out some line qualities that match those observations or feel accurate to you. It's okay to have like a whole bunch of patches where you're like, this one is long, silky Lincoln locks. Where I try to keep everything nice and you know, it's okay to have those side drawings. I love those side drawings. They help me know that you were thinking through it.
Even in our sketches?
Yeah, if you want. What I'm saying is you don't have to have perfect, beautiful, only one drawing per sketchbook page. Use it to think out your thoughts. There's a Dr. Seuss quote in there
That's
somewhere.
funny. I drew a little sun.
Yeah.
Above my.
Perfect.
Yes.
Leave it there. It adds character.
Where my highlight is at.
Yeah. So now I can, you know, or I could be like, this is too like under the sea kelpy thing going for me. Okay, what happens if I just keep these lines very short and all flowing in the same direction? Now I'm getting more to maybe some sort of natural fur. Where, yeah, some sort of like longed hair thing, like maybe fox.
Look and see.
Yay!
Yeah, it's coming along.
It's coming along. And reminder that you will have over the weekend to work on this.
So that's basically the assignment, is just to
This is your sketchbook assignment.
Okay.
There's going to be a project associated with this as well. Maybe we just talk about that super, super quick. And then